Oh, I've just realised that when I did my thumbnail, I haven't done my intro. Like that's an issue. But I've realised that when I did my thumbnail, it looks like I'm doing like a Jesus like look up kind of vibe, and that's not really what I was going for. Oh, my camera's just slipped. That wasn't what I was going for. I was just trying to do a one, rather than like, just to clarify. So I want to do a video. Firstly, welcome back to my channel. It's the first time in a video I've ever recently never said hello, welcome back to my channel, blah blah blah. I'm going to do a video about the 1% rule, which is basically something that I actually have kind of accumulated myself. I've never heard of it as the 1% rule, but it's the idea of like weaning out things, because I was watching this interview this morning, and she was talking about, the person I was watching it on was talking about how she literally weans out so much stuff that she has to do. Like, I'm like obviously not going to be like doing loads of stuff like public, like what she was doing, but I think just generally in life, in terms of doing stuff, like you do have to wean out like what you like. Obviously we're not robotic beings, we're human beings, but I think as a rule of thumb, like doing 1% of like you like think about how many thoughts you have in the day, and like how many like topics or like situations that are relevant to you will be like going through your mind, or going through like, will like come up in your life that you might see on the internet or wherever else. And the fact of like weaning down that, and also, and then finding like the 1% of stuff from that to bring to a situation. So for example, in like a relationship, right, you never know like what a person's like. It takes a while to understand someone's full personality. So I guess there would be lots of thoughts that you might have when figuring someone out, like, should I say this, are they like this? You're kind of figuring them out as a person, even if you like, as a mammal, as opposed to like an apple. And I think maybe like 1% of the stuff you act on, I don't know, like I'm not obviously like, I haven't done a test to see if it's 1% of stuff, but I feel like most, like you can't act on every single thought you have for a start, like obviously that's not possible, but like a lot of the stuff that you might consider saying or doing, you don't actually do. So like that's one way of thinking about it. It's even like in dates and stuff, like say if you're on a first date, like you might get super excited about it and you might just be like, oh, I just like, you might have this instinct like, oh, I just want to kiss him and something, like, but you wouldn't actually do that because that would be highly inappropriate. I mean, you might actually try and lead that up to that, but as you have the thought, you wouldn't impulsively do it, if that makes sense. That's why we have our frontal lobes, which help us make decisions. Of course, as I said, we're not robotic beings. I'm not accounting for the whole imperfect beings that we are. So obviously not saying that people don't make mistakes, but I feel like in a logical, wise mind, which, let's not lie, often we're not in, will be a case where I feel like in another area you could think maybe, and even as career, I think this is a really good thing to apply this to. Like, I can't tell you how much I've thought about like careers recently, and I've just been like, shall I go back to support work? Shall I do this? Shall I do that? Shall I do the other? And I think, say out of 100 ideas, I'll choose one of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's important to like actually be intentional. And I'm gonna put this idea in as well, which I hope that I've written down, but it may just be, I think the idea of something else I saw which kind of intertwines with all this stuff is that you, from law of attraction, was it law of attraction? It's kind of like you know the idea of like you get out what you put in. I think sometimes some ideas and stuff don't come to fruition. There's actually a Bible quote which supports this as well, which is, I love how I like quote the Bible all the time just off the top of my head now. Literally that Bible study's been coming in good. By Bible study I literally just go to the front. Anyway, my Bible reading, let's just get it out. So it says, if you have a so basically, like, little ideas, bad ideas that don't have a lot of counsel, or that's what it says in the Bible, will flop basically, and ideas that are backed by lots of, you know, goodness and like support will hold. So like I feel like if you've got like don't get me wrong, people have jobs, it depends the type of mindset you have. If you are one of those people that is just happy to work a job, like there's nothing that you can't just be like, oh, people just work a job, like there's obviously a thought process that goes into any job, which is important to consider. But I also feel like if you are like working a certain job and you have, it's about your intention as well. I feel like it depends on people's different intentions are different depending on the personality type you have, depending on how creative you decide to, like how artistic you are. For example, like some people literally do the path like, because I just think at my age, like, you know, I think about it structurally as well, why I've got this mindset of like 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, which I understand the reason for 9 to 5, and I understand like the point of making an income, and like how I probably will be working like more consistently in different in probably a back end support work, to be honest, for more money. But at the same time, I feel like I've grown up with this structure of like you go to school 9 till 3 every day, and also in terms of jobs, like outside of school there's also a lot of you know, things that happen outside of like part-time jobs, for example, like retail or like catering and all that sort of stuff, that also was like part of like what I've seen in terms of jobs. I haven't been like, even since leaving school, I've seen so many more avenues of jobs that I didn't really know existed. Like obviously you're aware of certain jobs, but sometimes you just come across a job and you're like, oh, okay, that's like really good for me, like I'll definitely do that. You know, so it's just important to be like well explored, because back to this kind of getting out what you put in, I feel like if your intention for something, and obviously your intentions and beliefs change, like to be fair, apparently God doesn't like help, like he puts stuff inside us, and I think it's so important to realize that people are individuals. So like even from doing this YouTube channel, I've gotten way more connected to my performing arts side, to my like performing side, if you like. I was completely disconnected from that for like so long, and I feel like I do enjoy like speaking to a camera, like I enjoy articulating my thoughts and putting my personality across. Like I genuinely really enjoy that, my histrionic sides. But at the same time, like obviously this is a hobby, but like, you know, one day. But for now, like you can't like be like, oh, I'm gonna make an income. But it's a case of, and you can't work from that mindset anyway. It has to come from the passion. And I also feel like I'm just not planning to have like a massive channel, to be fair. I'm like, let the count grow naturally, and it's about quality, not quantity, okay? So that's my mindset. I think it's healthy, and I think it's about your intention behind stuff as well, which is why I feel like I enjoy this YouTube, because I have a good intention behind it. Like my intention, if I was to go into a job I would get really bored in, would be a really negative intention. Therefore I'd actually be putting a lot of negativity out into the world, and potentially the longevity wouldn't last. Like unless you like forced yourself, but who wants to be miserable day in day out? Do you know what I mean? I think it's just, you can make choices that are smart. It's like be smart, not work smart, not hard. I mean obviously work hard as well, but help, because often things that are hard are actually very rewarding. Like support work was extremely hard and I found that really rewarding. But at the same time, I feel like once you need to make choices that are actually for you, I feel like, or it's helpful. And this is go back to the 1% rule. I think if people just kind of like, because I think often it's a case of acting on a place of lack, and it's acting on a place of impulse in any sort of situation where you're not sort of in your wise mind thinking about it. And things like jobs and relationships, it's really, I mean relationships maybe less so than jobs, but I feel like your actual career choice is actually a really important thing. And I think it's probably a bit of an existential crisis for a lot of people my age that like come out of uni and they're like, oh my god, I need to get like the perfect job and I've got this career in history, what the fuck do I do, sort of thing. So maybe that's kind of the collective mindset I'm sort of absorbing at this point. Who knows, but yeah, I think that's kind of the long and short of it. And it's just a case of like wanting to stand behind a situation like genuinely, and assessing like the achievability of something, obviously the fit to yourself, which I think is part of achievability, and like the realisticness in terms of like what you want it to meet. Like for this, my only real goal is to enjoy making the videos and potentially make them interesting to watch, and you know, have content that people will be interested in hearing. But like that's kind of my only goal, or like obviously like impart information that's actually of use, while sort of having a bit of a smile at the same time. That's kind of my only sort of, you know, goal for this. I mean, if I was to make some sort of, anyway, that's something else. But I feel like if your goal is to make money, but it's at the expense of your morals, for example, which would be connected to your sense of self. Like, for example, if you're, you know, if one of your morals is to, like, you know, cater to your needs, and if like working a really shit job kind of makes you ignore your needs to, you know, want to escape that situation because it's really unpleasurable for you for whatever reason, then, you know, I think it's just a balance. Like, I'm not saying, like, obviously there's a sense of discomfort in any job, so, but I think it's just about making the right choice for you. It's more about, yeah, the weaning down process. So I'm going to let it be now. Thanks for listening. Bye.